I don't know what's going on in the world. I don't know what's going on in the world, truthfully. You know, it's funny. I was just talking with a friend and we were talking about AI, and I was talking about how I have a sort of a love hate relationship or understanding or feeling about AI. I think AI is going to be really great. I think there's potential for AI to be really great, and there's potential for AI to be devastating. And what's interesting, the irony is that, you know, I thought that AI, or we thought, or we imagined a future where AI is sort of automating labor, like manual labor, to free up human bandwidth to do other pursuits, like, say, instead of being a jackhammering construction worker, you could be painting art all day, because we no longer need that sort of thing, in a sort of utopic, in a utopia sort of fashion. And yet somehow AI, it's like the reverse has happened, and we have these situations, we've had situations, we're having these dangerous sort of situations where AI is being commodified for artistic reasons, because when AI creates stuff, you technically, like, you don't you can't copyright it. So it's like, there's a lot of profit to be made. So for instance, if like a studio can figure out how to write a really good screenplay using AI, then, not have to pay writers, then, hypothetically, that the intellectual property is owned by the studio without needing any sort of creative. And obviously it doesn't really work like that, and obviously it's never going to be what maybe executives are kind of hoping it's going to be. And I think that's because you intrinsically need a human element in order to create art. Like, you just need it. Art comes from the soul. It's not something that can be sort of represented in zeros and ones. AI, when wielded properly and responsibly, is more like a calculator, right? It's like a calculator. The way that, remember, like, in schools, people were freaking out about, like, those really, really complicated calculators. Calculators help you to do math. AI can help us to do all sorts of things, but the kernel, the thing, the center of it has to come from the human soul, or the human mind, or the human eye. You know what I mean? Obviously, capitalism and corporations don't feel that way, and are going to do their best to try and basically enslave AI to do their bidding. Today's item is an interesting one. This is a case study. This will be, I wonder if this will go down as a case study. It's interesting on many different levels. It's interesting from a punk standpoint, like, punk history. It's interesting from sort of like a band musician musical integrity standpoint. It's interesting from like the AI, artificial intelligence sort of piece to it. It's just like it's a hodgepodge of weirdness that has sort of manifested itself. And I just want to say that everything that I am stating in this video is either alleged or is like, I cannot say for certain on any of these things. I am just going based on what other people have said. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt, okay? In case that it turns out that something or someone or somehow something is not right or wrong. I just want to put that out there. So this is an alleged item. We don't know definitively what the exact sort of thing is. So I just want to approach this with great trepidation as we discuss it, but it sort of fits into the theme of everything I was just saying just now in this kind of way. Cleopatra Records is a label, and they put out all sorts of music, lots of different stuff. You have lots of different artists on Cleopatra. It's like a sort of a legacy, like, I guess, goth alternative label, and now they've really sort of expanded into just all sorts of rock and roll and alternative music. There are a lot of bands: Morning Noise, Danzig, the Brain Eaters. I don't know. There's a lot of 69 Eyes. You got a lot of different. You got a whole bunch, whole roster. All those later Roz Williams albums, like Christian Death and Shadow Project albums, are on Cleopatra Records. and whatnot. They put out a bunch of stuff, a slew of stuff. And now they are doing a project with Cheetah Chrome. They are releasing, and they put out a press release. First, let's look at the press release. We'll start there and then go from there. Okay. So this is the press release. And here's the thing. This is officially from Cleopatra's Facebook page. So this is the first part of this. Like, it can't, everything else we have to sort of, dance around. We're not really sure what exactly is going on, but we know definitively that this is what Cleopatra Records is doing. So Cleopatra Records announces an all-star Dead Boys album featuring rock legends and groundbreaking collaboration. Now, this is a weird thing. What does an all-star Dead Boys album really mean? Recently, in the last decade or so, Cheetah Chrome has picked up the Dead Boys name. He's dusted off the Dead Boys brand. We got to call it a brand because it's not the band. The band was Stiv Bators, Jimmy Zero, Johnny Blitz, Cheetah Chrome, and Jeff Magnum, right? That's the band. And then Stiv Bators died, and the other guys, they got together, the 4 surviving members, they got together about 20 years ago to do some shows, and that was being billed as the Dead Boys, and it felt right. It felt okay. It felt valid enough for them to do such a thing. You know what I mean? But now, since then, a new iteration of the Dead Boys arose, and it really, it's more like, hey, we want to use the name and get some guarantees. Like, listen, Cheetah, I love you. I love what you've done for music. I think you're an incredible musician, but I really hate what you've done with the Dead Boys band name, the license, whatever you want to call it, the rights to your this incredible pillar of New York punk rock history. I don't like what you've done with it. Him and Johnny Blitz got together, the drummer, Johnny Blitz, a founding member drummer. They got together and they basically reformed the Dead Boys. And it's my understanding, again, don't quote me on this, could be wrong. It's my understanding that they had the blessing of Jimmy Zero. Jeff Magnum was not on board, but I don't think Jeff Magnum had much power in that kind of way. They kind of, there's some tension, I recall. Again, not exactly sure. Don't quote me on this. There's some tension between Cheetah Chrome and Jeff Magnum. I don't know if that extends to Jimmy Zero or Johnny Blitz. I do know that back in the day, at the very beginning, there was a band called Rocket from the Tombs or something. And I think that had some members of the soon-to-be Dead Boys. And then there was a band called Frankenstein. In fact, they were called Frankenstein before they were the Dead Boys. And they performed in 1975 as Frankenstein Halloween night. There's a bootleg out there of that. And then they turned themselves into the Dead Boys and they migrated to New York City, but they did so without Jeff Magnum. And in fact, it's not Jeff Magnum playing bass on that first record, on the Young, Loud, Snotty record. It's John DeSalva from the Tough Darts, and the producer, what the hell is his name with a B? And Billy, I don't know, the producer guy, I believe, played, or you know what, John DeSalva played on Hey Little Girl, maybe, I don't know. Then you have the other version too. There's the Younger, Louder, Snottier, which is the rougher mixes. That's the better one. I think Young, Loud, and Snotty is produced by what's her face, freaking Goldie and the Gingerbreads. What the hell is her name? She produced it. I don't think it's too polished, man. I prefer the Younger, Louder, Snotty mixes, which are not like it was not the official definitive record that was put out on Sire Records. They were managed by Hilly. They were around for a short period of time. They're very, very influential. When you think about like that classic, like raw punk sound that's sort of, adjacent to the Ramones, something that has a little bit more flash in the guitar department, and, I mean, Johnny Blitz, incredible drummer, like the punk rock Keith Moon, you know what I mean? And then you have Stiv Bators, trying to channel Iggy, these guys worshipped James Williamson and Raw Power and the Stooges and just everything, all that and more. Not anymore. Caught with the Meat in Your Mouth. Sonic Reducer. I mean, these guys, they had what a bunch of songs they had, and they were a tight friggin' band, and they played CBs a lot. I don't know if they did too much touring, maybe a little bit, and they were managed by Hilly, as I said, and then they broke up. And why did they break up? Combination of things. I think there was some infighting. I think there was drugs involved, just a bunch of different stuff. They would reunite from time to time. They reunited in 1986, Return of Night of the Living Dead Boys and Return of the Night of the Living Dead Boys. Stiv Bators went on to do a band with Brian James called Lords of the New Church. They released some solo stuff. Stiv died. He was hit by a cab in France while crossing the street, and he died unexpectedly in 1990 or 1991. And that really put an end to any kind of Dead Boy reunions for nearly 15 years until 20 years ago when they did that thing at CBGB's, which I was at, and I met them all. I hung out with them backstage. I met Jimmy Zero. I recognized him. Nobody else recognized him. I recognized him and started up a conversation. I asked him, I said, Jimmy, is it true that Stiv jerked off in the chili? And he thought that was so funny that I knew. I had read, Legs McNeil's book, PKM, and I had picked up that story, and I recognized him from the pictures in the book. And he's like, "Come with me, kid. Come with me." He took me backstage, and it was very tense. And Cheetah was over there with his brand newborn, and Johnny Blitz was over there, and Jeff Magnum was in a corner. None of them were really talking. I was just talking with Jimmy Zero and his girlfriend, and it was really cool. And that's an aside to all of this. So then again, like I want to say 2016 or something, there was a new version, and it had 2 original members, and they got this guy who, he's doing a Stiv Bators. He would tell you himself, I think he says it in the thing, he would tell you himself, he's just doing his best Stiv Bators impression. He's doing his own Stiv Bators thing, whatever. Loves Stiv Bators, and he gets to play for Cheetah Chrome. I don't blame that guy for taking that spot and doing that. And there's a lot of people out there that want to hear Dead Boys music. There's definitely a market for it. And Cheetah was like, okay, I'm going to take the name. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out as the Dead Boys. And I think a lot of people were rubbed the wrong way by it, but there were a lot of people who didn't mind. He even re-recorded Young, Loud, Snotty, right? He re-recorded it. And yeah, I guess all was good. And I think eventually, him and Johnny Blitz had a falling out. Johnny Blitz left that version of the band. And so then it was literally just Cheetah Chrome and a bunch of guys calling himself the Dead Boys. And that was wrong. I was not about that. In the same way that Wayne Kramer, listen, God bless brother Wayne Kramer, and God rest his soul, as he just passed away. But him going out as MC5 just by himself, also so weird, so wrong. And putting out this record, MC50, like, I'm sure it's great. I bet the music is fantastic, but it's like, dude, like all your brothers are gone, man. You can't call it Wayne Kramer's MC50. Call it MC50. You can't call it the MC5, man. You can't do that. You can't take one surviving member, then have a bunch of people come in and call it that thing. It's like, it's treating a band as a brand. And I think it's wrong. I think it's fundamentally not okay to do such a thing. And it bothers me. It does. It bothers me. But I think it corrupts the purity of the thing. That's what it's doing. It's corrupting the purity of whatever of the thing that it is, and that just doesn't fly. And so, Cheetah Chrome, he's doing his thing. He's out there, and I guess he signed with Cleopatra to do this record. But the singer deflected. They put out a statement. First, let's keep reading. I just did the whole history of the Dead Boys in like a nutshell off the top of my head. And by the way, again, that's just off the top of my head. I could have gotten some stuff wrong. Let's just keep that. Let's make sure we're clarifying that. The original Dead Boys cut just 2 albums through their short, fiery lifetime. The aptly titled Young, Loud, and Snotty, and the equally uncompromising We Have Come for Your Children. I think it is We Have Come for Your Children. It's a sort of a flat follow-up to Young, Loud, Snotty. And I think it also partially did the band in a little bit. Now, founding guitarist Cheetah Chrome leads an all-star lineup of past friends and fans into their 3rd, still untitled, but you can expect something no less provocative than its predecessor. So they're going to be doing a 3rd Dead Boys album. It's considered official for canon, set for release in 2025. This startling new album features Cheetah on guitar and vocals, Clem Burke from Blondie on drums, and Glen Matlock from the Pistols on bass, along with guest performances from James Williamson, the Stooges, who Cheetah Chrome is friends with and worships, and yada, 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 and Michael Monroe from Hanoi Rocks. Now here's the thing. I as a quick sidebar about this project and everything we've heard up to this point in the press release and sort of like what this is. If you took a single letter off of the title of this band and you just put Cheetah Chrome out front, this would be so unbelievably valid and wonderful, and I would have no problem with it. If you just call the record Dead Boy. Dead Boy. Yes, I know it's semantics. Yes, I know it's just like, whatever. Call it Dead Boy. If you have Cheetah Chrome, he is one of the Dead Boys. You want to capitalize on the Dead Boy brand, but you want to consider it to be something separate from the Dead Boys, which is what you should be doing, because A, it causes band and brand confusion. B, it waters down the legacy of what you were, right? Because nothing will ever compare to Dead Boys. And C, it doesn't look exploitative, right? If Cheetah Chrome just went out with his band of guys and just said, hey, this is Dead Boy. I'm a Dead Boy. They literally have a song called I Want to Be a Dead Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just call it Dead Boy instead of Dead Boys. That fucking works so well. Why not call this record Dead Boy? People would still buy it. People would still consider it canon with the Dead Boys, but not a Dead Boys record. That kind of canon, right? That's the difference. And that's where the problems lie. In addition, the production features never before heard demos and early recordings taken from producer Kirk Yano's pioneering 8-track studio in Cleveland. So they're going to take a bunch of demos that, to sort of maybe try to more legitimatize, what this being a third Dead Boys record. And I don't know, man. It just, to me, like, again, it's like if you're going to do an album, all the songs, they should be recorded together as an album, and you should record that. Like, it shouldn't, you're just doing like a hodgepodge. It's more like a compilation. Here's some demos. Here's some new songs. It's just, it's the same thing. And why re-record Young, Loud, and Snotty? Like, what's the point of that? Actually, you probably did that for a few different reasons. The Dead Boys were one of the first bands to record there in 77 and 78, and select tracks on the new album seamlessly blend Stiv's distinctive voice with new elements. Now, here's the key thing here. And again, Cleopatra is very careful to suggest that they are not using AI to do this. And so therefore, I want to clarify, we do not know definitively if AI is being used. And we can suspect that AI is being used. We can't say definitively, just to be careful here. Okay. But listen to what this is. How would you seamlessly blend Stiv's distinctive voice with new elements, creating a sonic experience that feels both nostalgic and fresh? Cheetah Chrome's vocals are artfully dusted, quote unquote, dusted, with Stiv's iconic presence ensuring the new material retains the raw, visceral energy that defined the Dead Boy sound, aka, and this is my interpretation. I'm not saying that Cleopatra is saying this, and I'm not saying that this is what happens. This is my interpretation. Allegedly, that kind of suggests that Cheetah Chrome is singing, and they're using plugins, filters, whatever you want to call it. They are using AI or computers or whatever to make Cheetah sound more like Stiv. This is wrong. This is just plain flat wrong. There's no artistic integrity in this. This goes above and beyond. Now, I got to tell you, seeing Peter Cushing in Rogue One brought back to life with the blessing of his estate, doing what they did, that was great. That made sense. That works. This, to me, is a mockery of the art that the Dead Boys did by doing this. This is perversion. Okay, this doesn't work. It's not going to work. Maybe the songs would be great. If you were to call this anything else, if you were to call this Dead Boy, like Cheetah Chrome Dead Boy, you literally could call the album Cheetah Chrome, Dead Boy, or Dead Boy Cheetah Chrome. Like, it's just like, what, to use the name Dead Boys, to use AI that's learned on Stiv Bators, assuming that's what happened, because we don't actually know, to do that. No way, man. No friggin' way. I can't abide this. This innovative approach. What does that mean? Innovative approach celebrates the band's history while boldly reimagining their future. The album follows recent Dead Boy releases featuring collaborations with the 69 Eyes and Sherry Curry, further cementing the band's relevance across generations. I guess they recorded some stuff, some singles or something with the 69 Eyes guys and Cherry Curry from the Runaways. But I mean, this is like, you know, I don't know. I can't speak on that. What's next for the Dead Boys? New music, tours, and a search for a vocalist. What? A vocalist? But I thought they had that guy. They had the Stiv Bators, you know, guy, the guy who's, you know, emulating Stiv Bators or whatever he's doing. I guess, but now that seems that that's not the case. So what happened? So they are searching. This press release. Whoever put together this press release is like, oh my God. Travesty. How do you, man, talk about trying to spin a train wreck. The Dead Boys are actively seeking a professional vocalist to join them for future shows. Why, Cheetah, why are you doing this? Like, why are you even doing this? Again, I just don't get it, man. Like, go out with your all-star lineup. Call yourself Dead Boy. Like, just why are you calling it the Dead Boys? It's not the Dead Boys. It doesn't feature any Dead Boys except for you. It's not the Dead Boys. You can't call it that, man. This is a rare chance. Sorry. So he says, to enhance their electrifying live performance, the Dead Boys are actively seeking a professional vocalist to join them for future shows. When you say the Dead Boys, it makes it sound like Jimmy Zero's there. It makes it sound like Jeff Magnum's there. It makes it sound like Johnny Blitz is there. None of those guys are there. It's Cheetah Chrome. So let's correct this. To enhance the electrifying live performances, Cheetah Chrome is actively seeking a professional vocalist to join him for future shows. This is a rare chance for a dynamic and talented singer to contribute to the next chapter of punk rock history. Stay tuned for additional announcements as the Dead Boys continue to honor their punk rock roots while embracing bold, innovative direction. See, this is dishonest to me. Continue to honor the Dead Boys. The Dead Boys are not in the band. You can't say that. I mean, that's just journalistically like dishonest, man. Like, it's trying to trick people. And, you know, of course, a bunch of people are going to buy this record. I mean, look at this image. Even this image looks like it was cleaned up with AI. You know, it looks like it was smoothed out or something. The whole thing is upsetting to me. It really, really is. And then something else comes out, right? This is just the first piece. Something else happens. Before we discuss that, I want to quickly discuss with you Riot Stickers, the official sponsor of the Frumess channel. If you need stickers, get your Riot Stickers right here, okay? You should use Riot Stickers is what I mean to say for your sticker needs. Die cut stickers, you can get 100 die cut stickers for $33. Die cut stickers are stickers in any kind of shape. So if you want stickers in the shape of Stiv Bators' head with a thing saying no Stiv, no Dead Boys, you know, you can get those made at riotstickers.com. You want to double your order, you can get 200 stickers for $66, or you can get 300 stickers for $99. You just go to the link down below, riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's FRUMESS. And you put in your sticker order and get your stickers. Again, that's 100 stickers for $33. You're not going to find a better deal than that. Riotstickers.com. We'll play a little theme song. We'll be right back to find out what else happened in this situation.
Posters and promo cards, there's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. We are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And that is a promise. Okay, so then what happened, right? So this guy, look, he's even wearing Stiv Bators' like striped shirt that he always wears. This is the guy. This guy was singing for Cheetah Chrome for the last almost 10 years, right? His name's Jake, okay? And by the way, again, like, I mean no disrespect to this guy. Like, anybody who's a fan of the Dead Boys gets a chance to sing for Cheetah Chrome, like, in that Stiv Bators spot. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? And clearly, I think he's very sort of aware of that, and like, clearly has some integrity, man. He has some integrity in the situation, and it's really nice. It's really nice and refreshing, because you would imagine that he might have gone along with this, especially if it would immortalize him on a recording. Here's what he says. It is with a heart shot full of lead that I'm forced to announce that I am no longer the singer of the Dead Boys. Now, he's calling it the Dead Boys. Again, this is where we disagree, but I still have a lot of respect for this guy, and I'm sure he's probably battled and weathered that, all the time. People telling him, you're not the singer of the Dead Boys. Dead Boys don't exist anymore. Whatever. We're not here to have that discussion. We're just going to call it the Dead Boys for the sake of this video. He says, I am no longer the singer of the Dead Boys due to unreconcilable artistic differences with Cleopatra Records. I must recuse myself. Now, notice he does not mention Cheetah. He only mentions Cleopatra Records. Okay. Now we can say for certain these are the words of Jake Hout. Is that how you say your name, Jake Hout? These are the words of Jake. Okay. This is what Jake is saying. I'm not saying this. This is what Jake is saying. We are just reading what Jake is saying. He says, I must recuse myself. They intended to put out a record with fake ass robot AI Stiv Bators voice on it. They want my voice to be the template for the fake Robo Stiv voice, and I absolutely cannot do that. It is against my religion. It's heartless plagiarism of my own guardian angel, and it absolutely cannot happen, and it can absolutely not happen. Stiv Bators ain't no fucking robot, and I ain't no fucking robot neither. I am Jake fucking Hout. I am the singer of Alter Defy. Everyone knows that. Actually, only cool people know that. So, I just want to say, like, again, I have a lot of respect for this. I have a lot of respect for this guy, for him to speak out like this. Like, I like respect, bro. Like, seriously, respect. And, clearly this is a guy who was like, here, I have this great opportunity to like play Dead Boy songs with Cheetah. It's going to call it the Dead Boys. I'm the singer for these Dead Boys, whatever. And Johnny Blitz at the time, right? He sang for both of them. And now they want to use his vocal as a guide, allegedly, according to Jake, to create this Frankenstein Stiv Bators. Everybody, it's I already said what it is. It's corrupt. It's bankrupt entirely. And so he quit. He left. And again, he doesn't say anything disparaging against Cheetah Chrome. Frankly, he's only really talking about Cleopatra in the statement. This was on November 24th. So this was 2 days ago when he made this statement. Then he makes another statement. Ready? Here's the second statement. Oh, not that one. It's this one. So here's another statement from Jake. Ready? Here's what he says here. The shortest, because I guess he got a lot of, a lot of people are asking him questions. What's going on? What's this about? The shortest I can get this story is this. Cleopatra said it would be an AI record, but Cheetah assured me that it would not. So Cheetah was telling Jake, this is according to Jake. This is what Jake says. Cheetah was telling Jake that it's not going to be an AI record, but Cleopatra said that it would be. But the opening line of the contract reads, quote unquote, this is a quote from Jake about a contract that I guess he allegedly received or that he got to read. And he clearly was able to copy and paste it into this Facebook post, right? And this is what it says. Artist has agreed that such performances shall be vocal performances, the performances utilizing artificial intelligence, AI technologies for the purposes of creating works based on the original voice of Stiv Bators to be used on the company's master recordings of the songs. I mean, that is literally, so the title of this video, which I put a question mark just to cover my own ass, it really sounds like to me that Cleopatra Records and Cheetah Chrome are trying to use AI to like fake some Stiv Bator vocals, and it's just ridiculous, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So what did Jake say? He said, no, I told Cheetah immediately I would be forced to quit publicly and tell everybody why, and that it would probably go off like an H-bomb. This was in August. So back in August, he was going back and forth with Cheetah. Cheetah's telling him, hey, it's not going to be AI. Cleopatra's saying it's AI, or at least maybe they're saying it accordingly in the contract, right? I reminded him frequently, daily by the end. So Jake repeatedly, it sounds like this was not something that Jake wanted to do. I mean, it's a pretty, what a great gig, especially, hey, get to play with James Williamson and Clem Burke and Glen Matlock. Like what a to be on a record with all those guys is amazing. And Cheetah Chrome, obviously, too. I mean, fucking legends. Talk about an all-star lineup where you get to be the spearhead singer, except not really. And I'm sure, like, on some level, like Jake wouldn't have had any, clearly Jake wouldn't have had any issue if it was just, he wouldn't have any issue with it being called the Dead Boys. He wouldn't have had any issue with it if it was not for the fact that they were using a computer generated like Stiv Bator, plugin over his own voice. So it wouldn't even really be his voice anyway. And so he told Cheetah to no avail. I know that there are gray areas with lineup changes and artistic tools, etc. Now, I mean, this is where he's aware. He's aware of the gray areas with lineup changes, meaning, hey, I was singing for some friggin' Dead Boys that a lot of people would consider to be fake ass Dead Boys because, you don't have the band. And frankly, there's no Dead Boys without Stiv Bators. And it sounds like Jake understands that. But in a world where Stiv Bators is dead, and maybe if the other four members continued on with a new singer, they could get away with calling themselves the Dead Boys. That's one thing. But when you only have two doing it, and now it's just one guy calling himself the Dead Boys, like it just, but he wants to consider that a gray area. I'm not going to argue with him over it. And the same thing with artistic tools, in terms of like, AI and plugins and filters. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of tricks in the bag that you can do. And, depending on who you're talking to, some people might be like, no, like that's wrong. And you shouldn't do that. It should be raw and real. Some people consider it to be cheating. Some people consider it to be lying to sing, using AI or this, that, and the other. But we're in a whole different world now. And this is one example of, I bet you this is just the beginning, man. This is just the beginning. What Cleopatra is allegedly doing along with Cheetah Chrome is only the beginning. And I don't understand why Cheetah Chrome wants to do this. Like, I do understand because the name is how he can make money. He can make money with the name, but it just doesn't friggin', it doesn't work. Doesn't friggin' work. He says, there's a massive irony here. I actually sympathize with the no Stiv, no Dead Boys crowd. I get it. I always have. But for me personally, AI is the bridge too far. I always try to do right by Stiv. Singing for a band called the Dead Boys by some might not be doing right by Stiv, but I truly believe this guy loves Stiv Bators like deeply, and that I truly believe that he always tried to do right by Stiv, and his actions here right now, like, prove it. See, John of Doom says Stiv was the Dead Boys. Stop it. So there you go. Full stop. Full stop, John. Full stop. There you go. I think this dude is doing right by Stiv, and I have respect for him for walking away from this. He says, I always try to do right by Stiv and bring his music to life with heart and blood and passion and spirit. AI ain't got none of that stuff. And he says, I love you all so much and will miss you bad, but my path in this has come to its end. I mean, what, like, the integrity to like recognize that, and here's a bunch of people like, blowing smoke up his ass, and, listen, he deserves to have a little smoke blown up his ass for having some integrity where Cheetah Chrome did not have any integrity. And that's really where the story stops. Okay. Like, what is going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to probably happen. Cheetah Chrome is going to release a record in 2025 with Cleopatra Records called The Dead Boys, and it's going to feature some AI vocals of Stiv Bators, which is utterly ridiculous. And there would be far more integrity for him to call himself, the Dead Boys, or just Dead Boy. Hey, I'm a dead boy. I want to be a dead boy and do that. A dead man, more like it. Oh, come on. You want to hear it? It's going to sound ridiculous. I mean, maybe we would listen to it with morbid curiosity, but it's not. I mean, how good could it ever be, man? Imagine if they did that to Danzig. I think it would just the recordings would disintegrate. Glen's spirit Glen would be able to like physically resurrect himself to like put a fist through the face of whoever messed with his vocals. It's crazy, dude. It's really, this is probably the most egregious example I ever heard of this. And we'll see what happens. We know what's going to happen. It's going to be released. And you want to know something? It's probably going to be flat. It's going to come out. No one's going to give a shit. Like, that's the honest truth. Like, when it comes out, it's just going to be like, whatever. It's the same thing as, again, God rest his soul. And, no disrespect to brother Wayne Kramer. I mean, the MC50 album is coming out. It's like, it's going to have no longevity. It's just it's a cash-in. That's the thing about cash-ins. Cash-ins don't live forever. They don't last. Okay. Anything that's genuine, like lasts, in legacy and spirit. And if it's just a cash-in, then it'll be like a blip. Hey, remember that thing? So like at the end of the day, the Dead Boys legacy is not going to truly be tarnished. It can't really be tarnished, but it's still going to just look goofy as fuck for Cheetah Chrome. And that's it. I got nothing else to say about it. That's the end of the show. What do you think? What do you think of all this? Peace, hair grease. Leave me some comments.